What is diabetes? What causes it and what happens to our bodies when we have it? Are there different types of diabetes? Can diabetes be cured? And how can we manage its symptoms? Hello science fans, my name is Chana and I'm your resident Filipina scientist. Join us in today's episode where we talk about the science behind diabetes. Diabetes is a chronic disease that occurs either when the pancreas does not produce enough insulin or when the body cannot effectively use the insulin it produces. Insulin is a hormone that regulates blood sugar. When blood sugar is high, the pancreas secretes more insulin, and the insulin takes the sugar, known as glucose, from your bloodstream into the cells of your body. To balance this out, when blood sugar levels drop, the pancreas releases glucagon to raise them. And glucagon works with your liver to convert a type of stored sugar called glycogen back into glucose. And then the glucose moves from your liver to your blood to give energy to your body. Strictly speaking, there are two types of diabetes based on insulin dependence and when the symptoms of diabetes becomes evident in a person. Type 1 diabetes is characterized by deficient insulin production and requires daily administration of insulin. In 2017, there were 9 million people with type 1 diabetes, and interestingly, the majority of them live in high-income countries. Sadly, neither its cause nor the means to prevent it are known. However, it is suspected that there might be a strong genetic cause for this type of diabetes. Symptoms include excessive excretion of urine, which is called polyuria, thirst, which is called polydipsia, constant hunger, weight loss, vision changes, and fatigue. These symptoms may occur suddenly. But for a clear diagnosis, make sure to consult your doctor when you're feeling the symptoms regularly. And then we have type 2 diabetes, which results from the body's ineffective use of insulin. More than 95% of people with diabetes have type 2 diabetes. And this type of diabetes is largely caused by excess body weight and physical inactivity. Symptoms may be similar to those of type 1 diabetes, but are often less obvious. As a result, the disease may be diagnosed several years after onset, when the complications have already arisen. Until recently, this type of diabetes was seen only in adults, but it is now also occurring increasingly frequently in children. But did you know that women can also get temporary diabetes when they're pregnant? And this is called gestational diabetes. Gestational diabetes is when you have blood glucose values above normal but below those diagnostic of diabetes. Pregnant women who can't make enough insulin during the late stages of pregnancy develop gestational diabetes. And though being overweight or obese is linked to gestational diabetes, those who exercise regularly and are otherwise healthy can develop this also. So, at the moment, there is no clear cause for it. Women with gestational diabetes are at an increased risk of complications during pregnancy and at delivery. And these women, and possibly their children, are also at an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes in the future. Please note that gestational diabetes is diagnosed through prenatal screening, rather than through reported symptoms. So, even if you're not feeling anything strange during pregnancy, please make sure to go to regular checkups. Before getting full-blown diabetes, there are ways to find out if we are transitioning to this state. Impaired glucose tolerance or IGT and impaired fasting glycemia or IFG are intermediate conditions in the transition between normality and diabetes. Both IGT and IFG are conditions that mean your blood glucose levels are higher than normal, but not quite high enough to warrant a diabetes diagnosis. This can be checked by your doctor and they can advise you on what to do now so that you can avoid getting full-blown diabetes. Now, how does diabetes hurt or damage our bodies? Over time, diabetes can damage the heart, the blood vessels, the eyes, the kidney, the nerves, and so much more. And this is because of how the excess blood glucose can thicken the blood and slow down its movement. And so, adults with diabetes have a 2 to 3-fold increased risk of heart attacks and strokes. Combined with reduced blood flow, neuropathy or nerve damage in the feet can lead to the development of foot ulcers, infection, and eventual limb amputation. Diabetic retinopathy is also an important cause of blindness and occurs as a result of long-term accumulated damage to the small blood vessels in the retina. Close to 1 million people are blind due to diabetes. Diabetes is among the leading causes for kidney failure. Simple lifestyle measures have been shown to be effective in preventing or delaying the onset of type 2 diabetes. To help prevent type 2 diabetes, people should try to achieve and maintain a healthy body weight. Be physically active, doing at least 30 minutes of regular moderate intensity activity on most days. More activity, of course, is required for weight control. Eat a healthy diet, avoiding sugar and saturated fats. Avoid tobacco use. Smoking increases the risk of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Early diagnosis is needed to help manage this condition, and this can be accomplished by regular checkups with your doctor. And so, science has spoken. Diabetes is a chronic or long-lasting health condition that affects how your body turns glucose into energy. There are 2 types of diabetes based on its dependence on insulin, the age of onset of symptoms, and the potential causes. Diabetes damages the heart, the blood vessels, the eyes, the kidneys, and the nerves. But it can be prevented by living an active lifestyle and eating a healthy diet. At the moment, there is no known cure for type 1 or type 2 diabetes, but both can be controlled. Interventions in the 21st century are not too expensive, and they include blood glucose control through oral medication or insulin injections. Remember, people with type 1 diabetes require insulin. People with type 2 diabetes can be initially treated with oral medication, but if their symptoms progress, they may also eventually require insulin. And please take note, once you've been diagnosed with diabetes, you have to take charge and monitor your blood pressure and cholesterol levels as well. Extra care must be given to your feet as well, with proper maintenance of foot hygiene, wearing appropriate footwear, and seeking professional care for ulcer management. Having diabetes is not a death sentence. It can be controlled, and it can even go into remission. Just focus on living a healthy lifestyle and coordinate closely with your doctors. But what do you think? My mother had diabetes, but she was able to control it through medication and eventually insulin injections. Do you know anyone who had diabetes also? Please share how they were able to control it in the comments section below. And for a daily dose of science goodness, please follow our social media channels in Facebook and on Instagram. And visit our website also at www.SHE-ensya.com. Thank you so much for joining us in today's episode, and I hope to see you around!